Thank you everyone for coming out to the TST Roundtable. Today, February 15th, 2012. Hopefully you and yours had a great Valentine's Day yesterday. No massacre over here, but we'll be talking about different things. Well, a roundtable is always about what's on your mind. So if you type in your questions, Craig will ask the questions to us and we'll see if we give you an answer. We always talk about different things coming up in the industry, what's on your mind, and any stories that we have. So let's start this thing off by going over something here. We have this tire industry chart I'll talk about in a minute, but we have something big coming up. Two things actually. Tomorrow night, TST, in association with Motor Age magazine, we have our webcast on, of all things, wheel bearings. Technicans is our sponsor, and you'll see us do some neat things with wheel bearings, so you want to check out tomorrow night, absolutely free, 8 o'clock. And then we want to talk about our big event. The TST big event is a full day of training. People get out there 7 o'clock in the morning. We feed them breakfast, lunch, snacks throughout the day. And we have great giveaway prizes. But if you can't attend in person, and I believe right now, if you are on this webcast and sign up, it's $185. That'll give you the whole day special, but you have to mention you were on this webcast so we can check out if you were. You'll get that whole day. It's in Fishkill, New York. We got people flying in from all different places, so you may want to come out. There is our guest speakers, instructors for that day are Dr. Norman Knoll.
Jerry Trulian.
Oh, myself, that's right. I almost forgot myself. And
Jim Morton.
Jim Morton. Boy, Jim, don't worry. I do know you, but it's the brain. I couldn't remember myself.
He couldn't remember his own name.
That's it. And Pete Meyer will be our guest speaker. If you cannot make it to come out, we have a special. We give out 3 books, but you'll be able to download them in a PDF format and our newsletter. And you'll be able to do that for $75. So you can see the whole day. It's a special thanks to our Motor Age partner in this event. And tell your friends. So you got full 8 hours. If your butt can sit in front of a computer for 8 hours, God bless you. It's better to come out and network with others. But again, we understand some people can't make it. So there's our TST plug. Now, what's on your mind? What do you want to talk about? Who had a horror story this week? We know here on the East Coast, you know, weather has been like we're almost in Florida, very mild. So not a lot of things breaking down lately, but perhaps you have a story. And I think Craig is, are you going to tell?
Yeah, air fuel sensor. It's pretty simple, but I'm a simple person. So we had a 2002 Subaru Forester. And it had, you know, a code for air fuel sensor, but it wasn't a heater circuit, which make it really obvious. And really what it comes down to diagnosing it is understanding how air fuel sensor works.
Very important.
Now, I'll say this. Air fuel sensor, you need to know what the spec is for the vehicle, like the voltage. They don't give that to you. I measured it on a Subaru, 2.44 volts. And it actually had a cover that you could take off the air fuel sensor, and you could actually, it has a positive and a negative, so you know where to put your meter leads. So they actually built it for diagnosis using that.
This is on a Subaru what?
2002 Subaru Forester.
And motor?
Motor.
2.5.
Yeah, the same one they all have.
Yeah, it has a motor.
But here's the main thing. So you go to Identifix, because you know, maybe Identifix will have the spec. Identifix doesn't have the spec. It says if it's showing lean, but the post-cat oxygen sensor shows rich, then it's irrational and you should replace the sensor. So my question, before I go further, is what is a rich reading on a post-cat oxygen sensor?
It's a conventional oxygen sensor, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All
rich
post-cats are.
Okay, so what's a
What
rich reading?
millivoltage should I be looking for?
High voltage supply.
Very good. So anything over 450 millivolts, which is the threshold on a regular oxygen sensor, would be considered rich.
Now, for a post-CAD sensor then, if, let's say it's running, the car's running perfectly, Lambda 1, should that post-CAD oxygen sensor be a relatively steady 450 millivolts?
No,
Well,
whatever the cat's holding.
Well, it all depends on the cat. I've seen some stay high, nothing wrong with the cat. Some be up 800 millivolts, as long as it's steady.
Exactly.
Some see low, 100, depends on the car.
So that's my point. So if Identifix says, if the post-CAD oxygen sensor is rich, what constitutes rich? You don't know. I mean, I don't know looking at a post-CAD oxygen sensor, if it's a steady 700 millivolts, looks good to me, it's not zigzagging. So that didn't help me looking at this car. But I'll tell you what did, was understand how the air-fuel ratio sensor works. It works as lambda. We're used to with an oxygen sensor, if it goes above 450, it's rich, if it goes below 450, it's lean. An air-fuel ratio sensor works the opposite, exact opposite. If it goes up, it's lean, see, because it trips you up. If it goes below, it's rich. And a lot of European cars, the PID is lambda. They don't even give you volts.
They don't give you volts.
So again, if you know how to use an emissions analyzer or whatever, you know how to interpret that. But even if it's a voltage, you just have to view it as it's lambda. If it's going up, it's lean. If it's going below the spec, it's rich. And pretty much what we were able to do was, you know, like with an oxygen sensor, cause vacuum leaks, add propane, you see if it's acting rational.
Very good.
And it wasn't. So we replaced the sensor, and you didn't necessarily need a specification, though having one's nice. And so now we have one for ourselves, 2.44 volts. The Autoland Scientech scan tool did have lambda for that car, so reading lambda makes sense. But
Now the Autoland Scientech, did it show a difference between the old sensor, air-fuel ratio sensor, and the new one? Were you able to see a lambda difference with the tool?
yeah, it was 1.5. It was
Wow.
way lean, and it was 1 when it was fixed. So, you know, I just think that, because I remember 2 years ago where I really didn't know anything, I asked one of my, you know, the ATAC at the time, I asked him, how do you diagnose an air-fuel sensor? He's like, I wish there was a class on it. He said, you really can't. And I just don't think that's true. If he understands how lambda works,
You
a
can
spec
test
is
it.
nice, but you can test it. They're testable. They just work the opposite of an oxygen sensor. So I thought that was very interesting.
And
You
they've
can also
been out
go
for
off-
10
you can
years.
also go off
You
fuel.
should know them by now.
You can also go by filter.
It's not
You
new.
can also do it by filter numbers. I have a Nissan, the same
Mhm.
scenario, and one bank was adding 35%, and it was a lot. It was shorted pretty much, and it showed a high reading. You know, it was just pretty simple. Just connect it, see if it's changed, and see if vacuum test or put fuel in it, see if the reaction test. And it came down to that sensor. And if you really want to get nitty-gritty, swap the sensors. There's the same.
If you have to swap.
If you have
But
to.
a lot of them are swappable. You take left to right, just even cross connect even.
Usually when it's off, it's way up.
It's way up.
Usually
This one
you
was
see
at
that.
35% max, and it gave me an air-fuel ratio code at the end. I just looked at filter numbers and saw it right away.
You know,
But like, you know,
that comes to mind.
but the
you know,
ironic thing is, the vehicle's running very rich because the sensor's stuck lean.
Yeah.
Right.
The computer,
Yeah, it'll compensate for
yeah,
it.
the computer's gonna do that.
But now let me ask you a question. I mean, you were homed in on the sensor and you had a code, but did you just make sure like fuel pressure and so forth was good too? Did you double check all that stuff?
Well, if that's the case, if it's a dual.
Yes or
fuel-
no? Just wondering. Well, when you were
Yes.
done, did you drive it and make sure that it was trimmed, you know, pretty close to zero?
Yes, because actually when it first came in, she came in the cope, so light came off today. Fuel trim was perfect. So, oh, looks good to me. Came back 20 minutes later, lights on, and that's when I saw it was running like 30% short-term fuel trim and everything like that.
Right.
And then
So,
we looked
you
at
know,
the other specs.
but before you take the big guns out and go for fuel pressure or whatever, what he did by
Yeah.
adding propane or vacuum leaks and whatever it
Quick
said,
checks.
those are good principles that people forget to look in. You know, Snap-on troubleshooter, phenomenal. You don't get that in an OE tool. OTC troubleshooter with Identifix built in, kick-ass, because you don't get that on a factory tool. So these scan tools are still good, whether you have a Snap-on Veris, Modus, what's the other one they have, Solus, or you have the Pegasus, Genesis. These things kick ass, or Nemesis. They're inexpensive tools, but what is great about them, Snap-on Troubleshooter, OTC Pathfinder. They give you all of this stuff when you got a brain fart.
They have a lot of data.
And that's what we need in the industry. And, you know, hats off to both of those companies. I just used the Snap-on today. I'm building an EGR class. And I was using the Modus with the latest software in it. And I gotta say, the thing did a phenomenal job on this Caravan. It went in, it was able to make tons of adjustments, opening the EGR valve up. I'm able to show that the valve works, the passages actually are clear. Because if I command it on, whether by the tool or power probe, you know, I gotta see that there's a change. And
Absolutely.
Snap-on allowed you, you know, when you go into bi-directional with a lot of tools, and I didn't try OTC or any other one, but I went into Snap-on on purpose because a lot of people have that up in Massachusetts.
Right.
And when I commanded it on, I was able to view the PIDs and graph the PIDs. So when I had it on, I could see what happened to RPM. I could see what happened to flow. I could see what happened to IAC motor. You could tell that this EGR
One
was
thing I
working.
also learned was, speaking of EGR system, vacuum gauge, if you look at EGR, seeing how much the vacuum is dropping, it'll tell you how much you might have a low flow code or high flow code.
Very good.
And there is a spec for how much each motor drops.
Right.
And it'll tell you if any passages are partially blocked or blocked.
Now, speaking of that brings me of another one. Craig and his guy had this Caravan in today, different Caravan, that had a map sensor at a range. Now, at a range.
BARO out of range. It was a
BARO.
P0106, BARO out of
BARO
range.
out of range.
Barrel's out, map is also out.
Yeah. Now, you know, BARO pressure looked good, map looked good, but this intake manifold was a little old guy that owned it. You know, probably tons of carbon buildup in it. So I said, look, you know, that map sensor is bolted right into the intake. You know, the old one was bad, this thing had a bad wiring harness,
Right.
cracks in it, eating up. All that was fixed. Car's running better now, but still has this problem. I said, let's take a map sensor and put it to an external port, just use the wires, leave the other map sensor plugged in the manifold, as far as bolted,
Right.
unplugged. Now you're in one with an external connection and go to a vacuum port.
source.
Right.
Now, you may not get that code, which means you have an issue in the intake manifold.
Pile of crud in the
clogging it.
intake.
And
Right.
sure as hell, there was crud in there because when they took off the other map sensor, there was crud on it. So, just
When in
a
doubt,
tip.
carbon out.
Yeah, carbon out. By the way, that's where BG, Run Right, Wins, these things work real well.
And you gotta sell those services.
Yeah.
Speaking of carbon, since I work a lot of diesels, Power Strokes, I do 6 unbelievable. BG has surpassed, as far as I'm concerned, any company out there. I fix more injector issues and more.
And they got a nice
EGR.
tool.
Yeah.
Huge. I make a fortune.
Yeah, I forgot Richard's last name, but I think he's the head guy. Yeah, he's the head guy, and he had shared some stuff with me that they were working on diesels, especially Fords, that BG uses in the chemical, and they've done a great job.
I do work
Great
with
job.
dealerships because they don't have the tool.
Yeah.
They don't use the tool.
And we know
That's cool.
power strokes, carbon stroke,
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Carbon.
big time. EGR passages totally clogged.
Your elimination kit on the 6 Just get rid of it.
Delete.
Save yourself.
Greg, do we have a question there or a comment?
We have two quick questions. One relates to air fuel sensors from Alan Boggs.
Hey, Alan from Louisiana, thank you for that great boat ride and stuff. Time well spent with one of our guys down there in New Orleans.
Well,
Welcome, Alan.
Alan's asking, when using air fuel sensors instead of O2 sensors, do you expect to see fuel terms mirror the value shown by the air fuel sensor? For example, will fuel terms show lean when the air fuel sensor is lean, and rich fuel terms when the air fuel sensor is below lambda?
I don't know, we're just gonna toggle with it.
Well, it's good, it should toggle with it, but dependent on the car, and here's the other thing to bring up. A lot of times, your trims, you know, one of the things why you do reset, you heard Wayne Colonna talk about even transmissions
Yeah.
not doing good, and you
Check
gotta
it out.
reset, you do battery reset
Yep.
on the transmission end, and that's just like setting adaptive fuel trim on our end.
Especially Ford, that's a huge.
Yeah, if they're not moving in sync with that, Alan, you know, to the air fuel ratio sensor, I would say try reset and adapts and see if it goes with it.
Because, you know, like with the Subaru, obviously it was stuck lean, so the car was running extremely rich.
Right.
Because it thought it was running real lean.
Right.
So
it's running opposite.
so on a theoretically known good system, it's going to be like an oxygen sensor. It's going to be counteracting it, I'd imagine.
Any other comments
Yeah,
on that,
well,
guys?
my question on that line, when you said, when you can flip the connectors on air-fuel ratio sensors or physically switch them, should the trims immediately flip-flop, or should you do an adaptive, first?
They may lock in.
Depends on the car.
Now, the other thing is, you
But I mean,
know,
it couldn't hurt to do if an adaptive was available, then look at your switch.
You know, when you have these tools like Snap-on or whatever, they have a lot of these bi-directional controls. This is in Toyota or Subaru specific, not in generic. You need to use these. And if you don't have it, then you need to be like our mobile tech here, Mr. Adam Barney, you know, where you're going to have the factory tool to actually do that.
Well, VAD count, for instance, you could actually shut the O2 sensors offline, and you could actually
Right.
adjust them.
Great tool, great tool. One of our top tools a few years back. Good tool. So if you don't own a...
now that said, if you're looking
Rostec?
at the PID for Lambda, some manufacturers are using strategies where they're not gonna be at Lambda 1.0 under a lot of conditions. They wanna run it lean under some circumstances, or rich when you're asking for power a little bit, because it's in the programming.
The
So
mapping.
The mapping of it. So it's not, don't expect Lambda all the time. That's where you really have to look at a known good car, baseline cars, and have some idea, especially if you work on one brand a lot, and see kind of when they're doing that. They're trying to go for leaner, you know.
Get the
more
most
fuel-
out of it.
Most fuel efficient and emissions strategies when they don't need the power, and then they go for, obviously for some type of enrichment when you're on it.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
it'll drive you nuts if you don't know the
It'll drive you nuts if you don't know that.
Strategy will definitely kill you, and Pierre brings up an excellent point. You know, is the air conditioner on? Is some load on the car? It's not going to be in Lambda. It's going to be off. So look at a known good. I mean, I've been saying this for years. Always take your scan tool if you can print or save screen. Know what it is normally on a car that there's no complaint.
Can
And
I-
then you got it.
So again, Nissan's 1.47 volts, Hyundai's 1.8 volts, Toyota's 3.3 volts, I think.
3.3.
Honda's 2.8.
And 2.8
I don't
to
see a lot
3.3.
of air fuels on
Too
Hondas.
much work.
I'm sorry?
That sounds like too much work, Craig.
But I just, how hard was it to remember 5 numbers?
You know, how hard is it to like actually probe it when you can just, I can do it right from the scan tool and just push.
Well,
the
you still-
probe.
Well, that's if you have...
Go drive the car. Driving the car is great because you just get out on it, you go right to the floor. Where does it drop to? Let off the gas. How high does it go up?
Yeah, that's
If you
full
see
power
it,
enrichment.
you'll see it go its whole range.
clean.
You know, that's.
I don't know, I known
You can Power
good.
break it too.
Or flat reader test drive, I should call it.
You could power break it, as long as you don't go to the rev limiter,
Right.
you should see something.
Yeah, now what about
Down to the
amperage PID on doing air-fuel ratio? Because I heard that was supposed to be a big
Amperage
Is
is the
one.
most accurate.
And it's
but
one.
It's very, very tough for most guys to do this accurately, because you're looking at, 4, 5, or 6 wires that you're gonna need the jumpers to connect, and then you.
But the PID, because some scan tools actually have it as a PID. It's the same thing as Lambda.
Yeah,
Same thing, it works the exact same principle.
you're talking about the scan tool.
Yes.
Okay. But Toyota always had use an amp, when I went to a train with Toyota, use a meter, not an amp clamp. A meter,
Yeah, you gotta put it in
because
low.
it's very low.
Very low.
It's in milliamps.
You'd have to have an amp clamp that could
In series.
that could clamp
There's
on the
not.
wire and read milliamps. They're
There's
super
none that
expensive.
accurate, right.
Yeah.
Right.
I had,
For our person.
I had a Subaru that went to another shop for a head gasket. It found out later on that the head gaskets had been bad for over a year. They got the car back after putting heads on it, and they had codes for the O2 heater circuits for all 3 O2s. Customer wanted to save some money, so you got them from the big box place. I recommended going to the dealer. The big box place, I don't remember which one you went to, we called a bunch of them. They had the same part number for the 2 oxygen sensors and the post-cat O2. And yet the plugs on the air fuel sensors and all the O2s are exactly the same. The customer actually put the O2s where the air fuel sensors went. Talk about trying to figure that one out.
It didn't do anything?
It didn't hurt it. I mean, the check engine light would come on instantly, and the car ran, and the car still ran nice, but it was
It
just.
probably just ignored the sensors.
It went in a limp
It
mode.
did.
Yeah.
So
It's
we're
just-
trying to figure it out, and I'm looking at the sensors going, because originally I would have thought the oxygen sensor would have been in front of the cats, but they're not. The front O2s are actually in the front cats, and then the post one is after it, and air fuels are in the pipes, which threw me off too, but you look in the information system, it was there. But just, and I'm big on just getting them from the dealer. That's just the way I am. I like them.
And by the way, that brings up a good
Air
thing. When
fuels.
you
Yeah. but-
see the rear oxygen sensor, there's a cat after it, and a lot of people don't change that cat after that O2. You better,
Yeah.
because that does change it. I go, it's not reading that. Oh, yes, it is. That changes the algorithm of that rear O2 sensor. Don't think the OE is gonna throw in an oxygen sensor, another
Yeah.
catalytic converter
For
that does
nothing.
nothing after the O2, just for the hell of it.
Right.
That's why on Nissan, they will sell you that, and that oxygen sensor's right here, but here's the rear cap.
Right.
It's all one piece, or you ain't getting the light out.
Do they
That's a
sell
big
you the
thing on P0
algorithm?
420. There's a
Sell
lot.
you the algorithm?
Did they sell you? No. But a lot of Nissans, by the way, there is a programming issue that you could try first. Nissans and Infiniti. We'll go over that in my P0 420 class coming up.
Oh, which you shall all go to.
So you have to, you have to make a big event.
That's right.
The TST big event.
So-
What date is that?
For,
The 24th of March, thank you.
you remembered. The,
He couldn't remember his own name as an instructor, but he remembered the date of the event.
so,
That's it, that's the
Yeah, I'm sorry.
so Carl's asking for clarification. How is short-term fuel trim affected by the lambda sensor and vice versa?
Okay. Who wants
But,
to-
I mean, as opposed to an oxygen sensor.
The mechanism, as far as computer logic, is pretty much the same. The only difference.
Same mapping.
The difference is that since they have a wide range of mixtures they can be accurate within, they can actually control mixture more accurately, more kind of slowly, as opposed to with an oxy sensor, they're cycling a little rich, little lean, little rich, little lean. With a air fuel ratio, with a wideband sensor, it's gonna be more steady.
It did this very little.
Yeah, it's held within whatever range they've programmed it for,
And they can also
for those
use-
conditions.
They could also use it for a lot leaner.
Right. Those strategies.
And that's why they.
Honda goes 20 to 1.
That's it.
And that would cause knocks years back.
Right.
17 or so to 1, knock starts forming big time.
That's
They
why-
can go 20, but change it like this. Where an O2 has to go, in a year now we'll go back from rich to lean.
It's not in a year, but
Well,
Millisecond.
but you get the idea.
But that's why they did it. They did it because they can control the mixtures better, and they have
Leaner
more
to get more
sophisticated
fuel.
catalytic converters too.
Cool. What other questions do we have?
Can the TPMS system be reset to a different pressure other than factory specifications?
Yes.
Yeah, this, by the way, this chart I just got from a buddy of mine, Bill Iredom, who used to be with Delphi and before that Aspire, is now working for the Tire Industry Association. This is a beautiful laminated book here that gives us some great information.
And where can we get this book?
Yeah.
Probably through these guys, I'll get you more information. It's called www.tireindustry.org.
So I don't need a dot between www and tire industry. I could just put www.tireindustry.org.
Just put tireindustry.org. You don't need that.
But no, okay.
Wise guy. Okay, so here you get the make, model, year, charge air pressure, rotation, tire, replace tire sensor, has a whole bunch of stuff. Sensor manufacturer like Schrader, OEM part number, Schrader part number, Schrader package kit, drill sensor part number, drill kit, Meyer sensor, my God, Napa. Look at this thing. Could you kind of zap in on that? Yeah, Craig's amazing.
That's it.
Zapped it.
It looks like a bunch of.
It please.
It looks like a bunch of tiny little dots.
Oh,
It
okay.
looks like an abacus or something.
So this is a real nice setup that tells you different things. Now watch this. You go near the middle of the book because there's Asian on one end, and it's better on you remember, but it gives you all the different valves. Okay, so you could probably get this, Craig. You know, there's replacements, like I'm gonna put on my Jeep with
They
the guy
have the
that's
kits to
metal piece
repair
of
them, so you
junk.
don't have to change the whole sensor.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got it too.
and it's pretty neat here. Good, Craig?
Yep.
Okay. Then they give you stuff like this, relearns.
Yeah, that's.
Wow.
And which ones use a magnet? It'll tell you as a check mark. Magnet, scan tool.
You're not wasting a lot of time with the grandfather.
Right.
This is very, very good. And by the way, you could go back and look at a free webcast I did with, was that Motor Age? Repeat that.
I think it was Motor Age. Remember,
Motor
they
Age.
didn't want to give us a
T-
free sensor?
Yes, TPMS. Look on YouTube and on the TST seminars, you should see that TPMS one that Pete Meyer and myself did. You'll get some good tips there. The tool we used was BARTech. Phenomenal tool. Very, very good tool. Okay, little bit, you know, up there, but updates are available. Good tool. So that's TPMS. What other questions do we have?
Got one for Pierre
Uh-oh,
from a guy named Joel.
Oh, that's right. He works at Volkswagen.
No, this is O2 BMW.
Uh-oh. He's in
Glory days.
the glory day. Soon to come back.
2002 BMW 325, lambda-induced trim, 20% plus based on upstream O2 air fuel sensors. Causing
It's
random...
adding 20% fuel? It's a plus 20 trim?
Yes. One second, Sky just wrote me a book. One second, I have to go back. So anyway, plus 20 trim, causing random misfire codes and injector pulse shutdown strategy to take over. He says the cause is unmetered airflow at the CCE assembly. Does this make any sense, Pierre language at all?
Unmetered airflow.
CCE assembly.
How many miles is it?
Ask
I don't know
him.
what he means by what CCE
See, I was just
assembly.
gonna say, I don't know that either.
I couldn't
I don't know
find
what
an
the
air
definition of
climate
CCE.
control electronics either.
That's climate.
Climate.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Sounded good to me.
Climate control is
He almost sounded like he knew what he
IHK.
was doing.
Climate control is IHK in BMW land.
That makes all the sense in the
If
world.
they had an air leak, did he look at scan data to see what additive and multiplicative fuel trim was, or was it, what was it, where was he getting those numbers?
I'll tell you when he types it back to
Yeah,
me.
is it in generic
Gotta
or
be.
is it?
What's he looking at?
Yeah, what's he looking at? What scan tool, what data?
See, the Europeans don't use long-term and short-term fuel trim. The Europeans use additive and multiplicative.
Which is the
And
same.
it's really, no, it's not the same thing. It's,
Similar.
instead of long-term, instead of time, it's more low load and medium load, or,
Yeah.
at full load, they're going to, you know, the enrichment map for power.
Yes, you're right.
But, so it's really, if it's in if it's in the low load additive, then yes, I start looking for intake leaks. But if it's in the multiplicative, I start looking for fuel delivery or something that's causing me to run lean. Could be a mass air, could be, you know, whatever, something else. It's
He's
not
saying
an intake leak.
CCE is for crankcase evacuation.
PCV system, oh yeah.
Yes.
I still like to use PCV. It was easy, they didn't break, it's a great term, everybody can remember it. Yes, that system can cause problems. Also, there's a thing called a DISA valve on that, a dual intake runner valve for the intake manifold for, you know, low speed and high speed also. And that has a diaphragm in it that can rupture in a vacuum line that can cause an intake leak. Smoke it, but smoke doesn't always find those. Run the car, take it down the road, do not turn it off. You're supposed to use a manometer to find the crankcase pressure, but you don't need it. Pull the oil cap off with it idling. If you can't physically pull the cap off, if it sucks and whistles and makes a hell of a noise, right?
How'd that go?
You,
Try that again. Got that?
you need the PCV, and on that one you need the kit. They have a, I always use the wrong word, but it's like a cold weather or a Arctic kit or something. They have foam over all the pipes. You want to change all the pipes. Also, they have sludging issues, especially with 15,000 mile oil changes. And the part of the update is a new dipstick. Because where the hole is, where the drain back hole, you didn't know about this, huh? The drain back hole from that valve, from that PCV valve, goes down into the dipstick, it gets sludged up, and you can still have pressure after you change the whole valve. So you've got to change the dipstick.
They didn't use a heater on that one?
No, they did not use heaters on that. They just put foam around.
Like Ford uses a heater.
Yeah, I just had a 325 or 328, the PCV hose that goes back and there's a crack and there's a heater in that.
That's the new car, though.
That's the new
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that's the
I
new
thought-
setup.
I thought
And
they
an
did.
'02, they did not have a heater in it.
This guy's a walking book on BMWs.
Nah.
Why look stuff up?
Here.
Well,
I never bothered.
1-800 beer. He knows.
Obviously, if you don't find anything wrong with the intake, you have to start looking for, it would be nice to know whether it's a additive or multiplicative.
When in
But
doubt,
if it-
smoke it out
If it's
first.
multiplicative, you really start having to look for, clogged fuel filter, bad pump, stuff like that. They've had to run a bad pump.
Voltage drops, bad
Voltage-
regulators, bad relays.
Yeah, though this is they run the pump computer controlled now, but you do have
Module.
a module. You still have to pay attention to voltages and grounds, obviously.
Yeah, a guy just called me the other day on a module, that he was having a fuel problem, and sure as hell it was the module.
Yeah.
It acted just like an old relay would.
Yeah.
Can you see that in the E-scan fuel trim chart? Driving it to fill in the chart to see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can, if you use the what he's talking about is the eScan, the ATS eScan software, OBD2 stuff. Yes, you can see that. I love that tool for that.
That's a
It
quick
comes
and
up
easy
with
tool.
green blocks if it's pretty close to ideal, no added, it's not adding or subtracting fuel. And then they start going, orange, yellow, or yellow, orange.
It's your fuel trim
and red.
saver.
And red, worse and worse colors.
Yeah.
As you get further and further afield, and it puts a number on it. It tells you what that trim is for that combination of RPM and load.
Best bang for the buck if you're doing fuel trim.
Very fast. Take it out on a test drive and boom, you got it.
Great.
If you have that tool.
Great drivability tool.
Excellent.
Who makes that
AT
tool again?
ATS,
Bernie
Automotive,
Thompson.
Automotive Test Solutions,
AKA known as the Bernie tool.
the Bernie tool. They're all Bernie.
Nice fake interjection there, Adam.
We're not just
I love
saying
that
this
kind
stuff
of
because
stuff.
we're trying to shill the products. I mean,
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I think I
I
almost
buy
have
these
that.
things and I
We
use
all
that
use
tool a
them.
lot.
That
We don't have
works
it.
with, that's the CAT test where it only works with the oxygen sensors, not the fuel trim, correct?
yet, for sure.
At this point,
At this point, it's only on the oxygen sensor
but
and
that's only for.
the catalyst.
Right, correct, okay. I
Yeah,
get
but if you've seen enough bad ones, you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
find
You-
out why
yeah.
bad one.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not-
Craig, any other questions there from our, before we get into stories?
Yeah, here's a story for you. Mike Pagan, New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey.
Ford Ranger 4x4, 97. Car came in with a bad vibration of 50 to 70 miles per hour. Car had 4 new tires installed
Oh,
by
I
Pep
remember
Boys.
I spoke.
And the rims had over 4 to 5 ounces on each tire. I removed the tire and checked them on my balance machine. The tires were all over the place. Since the tires were new, the owner decided to take it back. Pep Boys changed the tires and balanced the tires again. Weights on the tires have dropped. Owner still is complaining about vibration high speed. My tire guy says it's still the tires.
Now, what brand tires? Cheap tires, like when you used to get Goodyear Double Eagles, the tire itself, the rubber, was actually balanced. When you put that on a good wheel, you would practically need no weight. I'm not kidding you. So good tires, and this is the difference between a cheap brand and a high-end brand,
That's why I always like
Pirelli,
Michelin. I always like the
Michelin.
Michelins for that.
I'm not a
They
Michelin
balance
guy, but I like Goodyear.
They balance easy. They use very little weight. And I make a few bucks.
Now, Michelin, Pirellis, Continentals, Goodyear, those high-end tires, less likely. I wouldn't be surprised a lot of these cheap-end tires.
You're saying a Cooper ATR doesn't balance properly, is that what you're trying to say?
Coopers aren't bad.
Coopers are good.
Let's talk about the truck tire.
Tire companies, they are made by Goodyear. They are made.
Yeah, but they're using a lesser spec. I mean, they're.
Well, Department of Transportation is a DOT number on every tire.
Yeah.
The DOT number, like Kelly Springfield, that's actually Goodyear.
I saw a customer came with new Kellys and they said made in China on them. So
Well, some Goodyears are made in China now too, because depending on the market, they're made in Canada, made in US, like every other company. Okay, you can get Pirellis, you can get Michelin, all made in different places now
all over the
because
place, yeah.
it's because of demand.
Yeah.
If
Now, in
there's a big
answer to
market
this
for it.
question, can he balance those tires himself? I mean, did he check any?
he did.
How about a road force?
Yeah.
I don't know if he has that, but it reminds me. I had this Cadillac, and we did tires on it, and then ever since the tires are done, the car is veering to the right.
Ever since you syndrome.
Yeah, so ever since the tires on cars veering to right, they're Kelly tires, so we're already thinking the worst.
Yeah,
That it's the cheap tires. To make a long story short, so we swapped the tires around, doing the same thing. We rebalanced all the tires. We found even a tie rod end on the right outer tie rod end, replaced it, got it aligned, still doing it. What we found was the car was previously in a car accident, and if you looked at the struts, it was like maybe a ½ inch higher on one side than the other side, and you
Didn't that come up on the alignment? I mean, didn't that
apparently
check the
not. Well, who I don't know.
Well, Craig doesn't do alignments,
Toe and
but
go.
that's toe and go.
Yeah,
right.
that's the problem. A good alignment would
Is
have
ride
picked
height
it up. It
instantly.
would have picked up ride height was the first thing that would have been checking.
No doubt. Because even if your rear spring
Or
in
put
the back,
other stuff
and
on.
air pressure.
Right.
A good alignment guy is checking air pressure, the tires, height.
Well, sadly, I sent it to a dealer for an alignment and to the tire shop in town that's considered the good alignment place. So it's not like I went to the discount tire place for the alignment. I paid for 2 good alignments. So I'm wondering if this guy's going to shake an issue, if it's something, was his car ever in an accident or something. If you can't find anything wrong with the front end, anything wrong with the tires, you know, there might be something
Watch.
more than
I
meets the
said-
eyes.
The drive
I mean,
shaft.
I went to a training class for that road force.
Road force.
I'll tell you
Road
what,
force
you
kicks
are,
butt.
it is amazing how much you'll see a variance between a rim and a tire. When
You bet.
It's incredible, and especially in a Cadillac.
Yeah.
The rim that they try to match.
They
the
do.
part
They
of the tire
actually
to the rim.
spin balance the wheel
Mazda.
first. You mark it, and then you put the tire on.
That's right.
And you mark that, and you actually counterbalance it.
Mazda
It's-
had
it's amazing
it
as you
for that
move it.
same truck.
Yeah.
Now, that all said, if he's got something that came from another shop, he's not gonna be going through all of that.
Well, it's tough to get something. I believe this was the one, Mike, maybe you emailed us on it or a similar car. I believe this was the one. It's pretty damn tough to come up with the right answer, especially if you didn't do it.
Watch
And
the
the
drive
customer
shaft
spent.
though. A lot of times the Fords, the drive shafts rust really, really bad. And I got burned on that. And since Mike's in New Jersey, there's a shop called Driveline that just does drive shafts. You'd be amazed at how many shafts I've replaced because of a vibration that I couldn't get rid of. And I actually bounced, like my tire balancer was bolted to the floor. I can balance a 42-inch tire, like a 42 on a 20-inch rim and static balance it and have minimal weight if you do it right. But I had problems with vibration. I've had a lot of drive shaft issues, especially on Fords.
Well, drive shafts, you know, even U-joints, you can get a problem, a U-joint that doesn't move.
It does, that's
It's-
it.
Everything's good, it looks no play, but it's
No,
rusted.
but it's
That'll
rusted
give you a
solid.
The
wicked-
car
you'll
I
get
drove
that.
tonight does that.
Is it a BMW, Pierre?
Yes, it is, yeah. But it has 276,000 miles on it, so it's okay.
It's okay.
Until it gets worse.
Any other questions here, Craig, or?
No.
Mike, I hope we tried to help you, man, it's pretty tough. That's a tough one.
I guess story time.
Okay, so, Neil, got any good stories?
This week is a little slow, so unfortunately,
Besides the slow story.
I was in the bathroom reading.
My last 2 weeks before this week were like the slowest I had since like the first week of August. It was just
Well,
terrible.
The East Coast, now, you know, we just had our TST week with Wayne Colonna last week, and of course, we go 4 states physically, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, and of course, phones ring because someone don't turn them off.
And the boom mic picks it up too.
Can't get to the button quick.
We have to remember to turn our phones off. Or
But
down.
at any, watch my phone vibrate. At any rate, make a long story short, the warm weather on the East Coast really, really affects the business up here.
Yeah,
There's no doubt.
you count on those deep freezes and snows to bring out the dead batteries and the, you know, the people
The
who.
burnt up trannies, you know,
people who-
problems.
Right, all of that stuff. that
Overheating
happens.
motors, the
Yeah.
whole 9 yards,
That's right.
but guess what?
When
Didn't have
Cars are made better, we didn't have the weather,
Been a non-winter here.
Yeah.
and it definitely affects business. And the economy doesn't help.
But you're not getting dripped on every day.
That's right, no salt in the eyeball or down the back.
but you know what, I did have a Liberty today, actually came in yesterday, a 2002 Jeep Liberty with a 3.7 with a no start, and it actually had not one problem, but 2 problems. I thought it was the ignition switch itself, it wasn't, it was a piece that connects to the ignition switch, was broken, and you have to change the whole steering column, yeah, which really sucks, because the part, yeah, and it's $327.
Then you need a new key, then you got a program.
No,
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 you
comes
usually
with
find
it.
that one.
he's fine. But you don't have to change the whole steering column.
Oh, because
You just
that's
change the
inside.
piece inside,
and the ignition switch and not take everything apart. So I did that, but it also had a starter problem. Seriously.
I hate it when you get two things at the same
Because I
time.
was, it felt like the ignition key was not turning all the way.
Yeah.
So I took everything apart, because I had to go do it out on the road, and I got the ignition switch out, I used a screwdriver to turn it, and nothing. So, luckily I had somebody there with me, and
Made him push.
I couldn't
No,
get
made
to
him
the
turn the
starter,
key
see
while
if it
he
was
was
power or
testing.
not, but
Push
I
it.
tapped on the starter, and then, no, it didn't start up right away. It did the gargling noise, like the starter was really, it
That
just
grind.
started. And
That's
luckily,
the
on top of that, it
That
was
was the last-
a Geico insurance. I had to talk to them, and I couldn't believe that they didn't believe me. I couldn't believe that they did believe me, that it was
That was that
It was
mechanical
both.
breakdown insurance?
Yeah, it was both.
By the way, I don't know
They
if
pay
you've had
very well. They
customers
don't
with
care.
that.
Yeah.
I had a customer with that Geico mechanical breakdown insurance. It goes a lot of years, a lot of miles.
If the car's new when you get it.
If the car's brand new when you buy it and you have their insurance.
Yeah, they're good.
And
Really?
it's like a $250 per item deductible.
Yeah.
And they even pay for brake jobs, not the
Well, I
brake
don't-
pads,
but
but
this
the
one-
discs, you know,
But
stuff
this-
like that.
This one,
Rotors
they
and
did
calipers.
both of them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They
rotors and
charged $250 for both, because it was two separate things, but it happened at the same time. So it's $250 for one.
Rich has a light to talk
And
about.
it's funny,
I have to talk about it?
when you talk to,
You hit the button, it lights up.
At first, he initially said, I think we're gonna, because it was a pretty expensive deal when you have both of them, I think we're gonna send somebody down to come and take a look at it. I was like, okay, no problem, send them down, I'll show it to you. I had no problem.
They-
And then he said, because I had to get him a part number. He says, while you're doing that, I'm gonna check to see if they can come tomorrow. Comes back on, you seem like you know.
No, but those cars have
I'm gonna
had,
send you anybody.
they've had problems with the ignition. That's why. And the
It's not my
starter,
first one I've done.
was she complaining that it may have stuck before? She had never had a problem?
Never happened.
I just want to say about Geico, is like, they'll ask you, what's your labor rate? And you say, let's say $100 an hour.
Oh, yeah, they
They
tried
could
Can
that.
you do
They did
$80? So like, no. Can you do 90? No. Okay, 100. Okay. How much is the part? $219. Well, I looked it up, get 157. I charge list price, $219. Okay. And so,
Yes, they try to negotiate.
Well, I did go 9, but I did tell him diagnosing was 110.
Hey,
So
Geico's a good company.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
It's
just
a little
found,
get-go.
I think it's the person on the phone
No, that's
has
the
to
only thing I
ask.
do like.
Yes, they have to
They
ask.
have
They
to
do it
ask,
every
and I
time.
just say, listen, I go, I'm just charging as I charge the customer, that's what I'm charging you, that's that, and they'll just pay it.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
they told me they could get the part for $246. I'm like, well, I'm paying $262. How can I give it to you for $246?
Yeah, what am I
I gotta
gonna
make
do?
money on
And
it.
you can change the part, Mr. Gecko.
And all they're doing is looking it up on
They
a.
don't push that real hard, and basically if you stick to your guns, you're good.
Yeah.
And then you call them up, they give you an authorization number, and you call them up when you're done, and it's a credit card
Yeah,
transaction.
beautiful, beautiful thing.
Or if you want a check, they'll send you a check too.
Why wait?
Well,
2%.
Yeah, right,
It's
2%.
a big job,
Yeah.
2%.
you get a lot of customers that annoy you with their BS aftermarket high mileage warranties, and then they're surprised the company doesn't pay out anything.
How many hours you spend on the phone for
The
people?
only one I see
That's a problem.
that actually
Should charge
paid
them for that.
was Zurich.
I have.
But Zurich's a legitimate company,
Oh,
they
Zurich's-
do business insurance and
Yeah.
stuff.
What's it
But Zurich, they're the only ones that
They're
have ever.
affiliated in the same company?
Zurich.
I'm sorry?
Zurich
Same
does my
company, though?
disability
Same exact
insurance.
company, and
They do tank
you,
insurance too.
and
for
you
gas
call up,
stations.
they pick up the phone right away, unlike these other people.
Yeah, me too,
So-
tank insurance.
What happened?
I need to insure my tank.
So Bear, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Oh, two things I want to run
you
by.
been bombed
and
recently?
I know you might not have the answers, but it was just a frustrating thing. Had a S10 Blazer that had the second fuel pump crap out in, I don't know.
Harness.
No,
Air
that
tanks?
was the first time,
Background.
had the replacement harness with, was Delco GM pump. They only warranted a pump 12 months. It was,
Was there a lot of silt in the
there
tank?
was
Yeah, 12 months
nothing,
and one-
there was
and one
nothing in the tank. The tank's a
Clean?
plastic tank with the liner, and the tank was clean. It's just frustrating, you buy the stuff,
And how long was it that before the second one failed?
A
Or
year and a month?
a year and a couple months. And
just out of warranty?
yeah, and I mean,
Like they
you
had a
sell the
warranty
person
set
the
at that
premium
time.
part, the OE, and you know, the guy says, well, can you do it cheap? Well, we can put, well, I'm just gonna trade it in now, I don't wanna put any more money in it. All right, but then you get brand
Recognition.
You can talk the real stuff
You
here.
know, you get the AirTex and it's got the same, year warranty, so how do
Just
you
have to
tell,
put
I
it in
mean, which
3
was
times.
less money, so
Just
it's
say-
kinda hard, well, I used the premium one and it didn't last, so we're gonna use the lesser quality one, then.
Well,
I
don't say that, because AirTags
Well, I
now,
should say, the
is
lesser, I
ISO.
meant the, let's
Yeah.
say,
A
lesser,
lot of Chinese crap's ISO. AirTech's not from China, but that's
lesser,
like,
the
that's a
lesser
big lingo.
expense one.
because I used to hate AirTags.
I used to hate them.
I had more problems with them, you shake a stick, but they weren't ISO certified, and in case you guys don't know what that is, International Standard Organization, an ISO certification 1400 and some other number, basically means that part is being used by an OE, goes in an OE vehicle, and their
I
facilities
think
are
that's right.
certified.
I think that's hype, because you could get the Napa Proformer wheel bearings, the Chinese one, or the CarQuest Red Box, and it's ISO and it's crap.
I doubt if those are ISO.
Yes,
Really?
it's ISO. You could speak to Udonic. What's his last
Well,
name?
he may tell you they are. When you go out to Detroit,
I'll tell you that.
there's a lot of companies you'll see,
Which government
they are
regulates ISO?
suppliers to the OEs, and they get the ISO certification. Automotive Engineering, AE, if you get the magazine, you'll see the ISO companies in there. And most of these companies, they get inspected on a regular basis.
So pretty much, when you
the-
buy a box, always look to see if it's got
The
ISO on it.
BMW J-Box software, the Volvo J-Box software, that is accepted and recommended tooling for a dealership, but no one's really gonna use it because it's not gonna work well like the factory tool. So I
Have to
think
do with the part.
ISO's bullcrap, quite frankly. I mean, unless it's the OE part.
It couldn't
it's
go,
not-
it couldn't go in a car if it wasn't certified. It's a better quality, nothing's
What-
perfect.
But there,
Right.
ISO is a
I'm
voluntary
sure-
certification. There's no one regulating
No, no,
that.
no, that's right, you gotta go through hoops for ISO stuff.
It has to meet a
It
specification.
has to meet a spec, Craig.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
seriously.
being a machinist, they have to check every part, so many parts, and if it
Right.
doesn't pass it, then it goes into the non sub pile.
Right, no, ISO it's an important spec.
I mean,
That's not a
when you
BS
put
game.
peak motor oil in your Jeep, because that meets American Petroleum Institute
That's
specifications.
different, Craig.
No, it's not, because there's
Dan
a,
Patrick, he's got an Indy car.
there's a process, and you have to spend money and stuff, but pretty much in my opinion, if you write them out a check, they're gonna give you a certification. I mean, Alex put a lot of Airtex pumps in, you know, a couple years ago when they had all that specification, and they all came back.
Anyone now using AirTags?
I just used one the other day on the Dodge Diesel. Not
I
one
will if
word.
I'm stuck somewhere, I'm sorry, did I say?
Well, that wasn't my question, they were, my point, I was just venting.
The point is, how do you sell it to a customer
Well,
when you
right.
have something come back just out of warranty that was a premium part
Right,
that you
right,
charged premium
right.
dollars for?
So there's a good
And then-
example. There was a premium pump that.
You don't warranty your
Right.
labor on the Airtex pump.
Right.
Simple
I
as that.
wasn't so much worried about that, it's just when you can't depend on the premium parts,
There's
you're up the
defects.
creek without a paddle.
Yeah, but there's defects with everything.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
We had Tony Mattioli, who used to be on this TST board years back. He had, and you know I have the little tester out there, I can test the pumps.
Mhm.
He had 6 pumps
Faulty, in a
Faulty.
row.
in a row.
Same
Three-
car.
3 of them were OE pumps.
Odometers?
The other 3 were CarQuest.
They were
So
sucking, they were
2
sucking
and the
air.
rest were CarQuest.
They were sucking air, right?
They were bad pumps,
They really suck, I mean.
okay? And I'm talking, he was getting this from a GM dealer, the 2 bad
Right.
GM ones, finally got the 3rd one. And you know, he kept putting these things up.
Did you Delphi?
Finally, he was like, this is before Delphi kind of existed in this form, this is quite a few years back. When he brought it in, I said, this pump's defective, next defect. The finally good one they wound up putting in, it flowed over half a gallon a minute, and the amperage was good on the pump. So you can get stuff, like everything,
They might have a bad run.
a bad run,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bad one.
Every manufacturer has a bad run of something.
no doubt.
Wasn't
Okay,
there?
look at the GM gas tanks blowing up because the wire, like the one you had years back. Remember the wire? The insulation went bad, and the guy went over a bump, and lucky this gas tank didn't blow up, it arc out. OE pump, general morons, okay? Yep, shit happens.
Actually, I had another one of
Plain
those.
English.
Like, you know, you don't
Not very nice.
GM, General Motors.
you don't buy the GM or the Dodge.
I got a Chevy Volt now. What a great car. It is, seriously, great car.
How many times has it been to the dealer? Like 5 times?
No, it had a light water problem that they fixed. And the light water went in, but 104 miles a gallon, thing kicks butt.
That thing's been to the dealer like 5 times, I'm telling you.
Correct, for a light bulb.
For the same light bulb 5 times?
No, it had one up front, one in the back. It had a lens problem, probably made in China, the lens.
Oh my God.
But they were ISO lenses.
They were-
Oh, yeah.
When you were saying about fuel tanks, just so everybody knows, I have a sheet. There's an aftermarket company that makes poly tanks for the diesels.
They don't set come apart?
Right. It's a poly tank.
Yeah, you better give me that number.
I have the paper in the thing, and I'll make sure, because we bought 2 of them from this company. You use the original sending unit, beautiful design, fits right in. I believe the price is like $860, when the fact that it takes $1,000, and because the Fords especially, the Fords are coming apart. But I tell you, this company's nice, great company to deal
I'm
with.
gonna be telling me in Jersey, yeah.
Yeah, I have the paper with me,
It's
so I'm gonna
because
show
of
you
the
the
fuel quality,
information.
the fuel mix, isn't it?
Right.
The reason why it's fuel higher.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
But
So
when you
your
have,
BG's telling me the same thing.
see, a lot of times if you go to the dealer's like, oh, well, it's where you're buying your fuel. I deal with 13 different landscapers. They all buy fuel from different places.
Hello?
They all run different kinds of trucks, and all the tanks are coming
One
apart.
These are metal tanks or these are plastic?
These are metal tanks that are
Metal
coming apart.
The
Deflating.
composite tanks now, he has
We have a company that makes the composite tanks for the
Delineating
aft
from inside.
tank.
That's nice.
Because nobody was making them especially for the mason
You
dumps.
don't want that to get into your fuel.
Oh, no, that's a
6.4
disaster.
liter.
That's a disaster.
I mean, I got to the point where
Yeah.
every time I'm doing an oil change on any
Yeah.
Ford, I'm pulling the sending units out of these mason dumps and cleaning the screens.
Well,
Every oil change.
well, here's the thing, and the reason why it's happening is because the new diesel,
The ultra
you're
low
not
sulfur.
putting in the tanks in the ground, getting pumped in. And
Right.
they're rusting from the inside out, going into the
Yeah.
tank, they're
Yep.
going into the thing. So there's a treatment for, if somebody's buying bulk oil or bulk fuel,
Right.
to put in your tank to recoat the inside of the tank so it doesn't happen anymore. There is a product out there for that.
Yeah, there's also, out in Jersey, there's Midland Radiator. I sent 2 of the tanks before I knew about the poly tanks. We pulled them out, brought them to them.
Yeah, but you're still
They
gonna do the same, yeah, you
Well-
still gotta worry about where they're getting the fuel
The
from.
storage,
Right.
you're still,
Yeah.
what he's talking about
Right,
is the storage facility.
Storage.
Right, but all my guys are buying them from, like,
Well,
gas
that's why,
stations.
like up here, all the mobile Exxons,
Right.
they put those big composite tanks in. You see
Right.
them? They're no steel tanks at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but the ones that still
filtration.
have the steel is what you gotta worry about.
Yeah.
So
You
when
gotta
you're
watch the
addressing an
old
issue,
stations.
a reoccurring issue with fuel filters getting clogged up,
Oh,
injectors failing, you better ask that guy where he's getting
Where-
fuel.
Go to a big station.
That's
9
it.
out of 10 times, a big facility is not gonna have the old tanks.
I had a brand new
When he's got the
You
tankers
You know,
coming in. that's
we
when
had,
I
with
drive right by.
Volkswagen,
You know, the big tankers just starting.
with
all up.
Volkswagen, they had a lot of diesels, and it came up in conversation a number of times about diesel quality. And what I was doing was giving people a copy of the top tier sheet for gasoline, not because
Shell.
Shell is one of them, whatever's on top tier gasolines, if you go on the web, that list, and I was saying, look, these are higher quality fuels. I would buy diesel from these sources as
You don't go to
well.
Bob's.
Actually,
gas station
when I
and-
mentioned that to one of the tech guys on the phone one day, when we had a diesel problem with fuel quality, he said, well, you got it half right. Go to a name brand, one of the good, refiners that has good fuel, but also go to a high volume station. Don't go to
Yeah.
that little station that doesn't move the product, because diesel
Moisture.
does not like, it's not just moisture, it's microbes, it just doesn't like to sit. Buy it from a high volume station, so that's what you wanna do, buy from a high volume station, from a high quality manufacturer.
On that note as
Diesel.
well, for diesel fuel, I watched BG again, have little test strips that you actually you dip them into the tank and you let them sit for a day, and you could actually watch the growth of the
Algae or whatever, yeah,
and
right,
it's huge, because if you let that diesel truck sit for a couple days or what have you,
yeah,
all that organisms are growing.
yeah, they're having a great time in there.
Yeah.
Party.
They're having a party.
Yeah.
Didn't invite anyone
I
else.
never saw him before until I got in his van one day going for a ride. I'm like, what's that? He goes, oh, this is how we test the fuel. And I started looking like, damn.
So what do you sell? What do you sell with the test strips?
Yeah, it looks like that.
What do you sell?
They have additives,
Good
that are
question.
antimicrobial additives for the fuel.
What is BP selling?
What do you mean? For
With
What
the
do they
test-
sell them when you see you have that problem?
Yeah, like
What's the
a fish tank
I don't
or.
know the product name.
Oh, but they have.
They have a product they put in the tank to treat the tanks. So every time you
That's
get
good.
a major fill up, they use a chemical base to treat the tanks.
Excellent.
And prevent corrosion, I
Prevent
guess?
corrosion.
Okay.
and takes care
Probably
of fuel.
lubricate stuff, the whole 9 yards.
Probably has some antimicrobial, you know, different subject, but when I used to fly, I used to read all the flying stuff. They had a product called Prist for jets, which use something kind of akin to kerosene for fuel. And Jet A, they call it. And they would have auto injection. It was a can that auto injected a certain amount of Prist
Into it.
per gallon, because what you really don't want in a jet plane is to get to 30,000 feet and have everything go silent. Stop!
We have a problem here.
That's very bad.
Pierre can't get out and fix it at 30,000.
But when companies out there,
There's gotta be a W engine in the plane.
So who has to test drive a plane after they fix it?
Jim Beckley.
It would usually be somebody with AI certification, which is an inspection and authorization, not just an A&P, not just an airframe and power plant. You gotta be an inspector.
Why don't you give that tank information?
The tank information for the diesel tanks is XDP, so it's X-ray David Peter diesel power, and the phone number is 1-888 diesel 4. I can't find the website, but I don't see what it is. But I mean, it's a great product. It works fantastic, and their prices are nice, and the guys are great to talk to. And they have them for Fords.
And are they
Dodges.
local in
I don't remember
Jersey,
where-
or they send
No.
them out through warehouse?
They sent them out through a warehouse. But I mean, it is a nice product. We used it on 2 of the trucks so far, and beautiful fit, finished. Everything goes right in.
That's good to know.
It is nice, and especially because, like I said, it's $1,100 from the dealer from a gas tank, and these things are, I think, $895.
yeah, well, you just want to not have that problem.
You just don't want it to come back.
That's it.
Right.
And like I said, it fits nice.
Any other questions you guys have out there? It's
It's getting close.
getting close to the end. We'd be more than glad to answer questions for you.
Or talk about some subject that's near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Sleep.
China. Let's talk about China.
I read something in the Wall
China's a
Street
good
Journal
country.
the other day about
Yeah.
China, where they had one of their top economist guys that was saying how good China is for the U.S. He wrote a good article, but I go, all this is a bunch of lies. You know, how much...
China today
How much-
agreed to help bail out the European Union. That's,
Well, they have all the money.
They have all the money.
Their currency is,
that's
you
the
know,
only way
valued
they,
less.
that's the only way they can keep their manufacturing going.
Well, they're pretty much buying out a lot of property here. They bought the Panama Canal. They're buying all the real assets in the world because they have the money. And
They
then,
also own most of the rare earth facilities in the whole world.
They
but
got Reagan, a good
but
president.
when they overthrew Gaddafi, 20,000 Chinese oil workers were kicked out. Yeah.
Well, when you buy property in another country, and the rules in that country change,
Then
you
you lose
might
it.
not own that property.
Just makes you wonder why we overthrew Libya. That's all.
Well, let's not get political.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually illegal for a not-for-profit.
At any rate, you know, we're here, TST is about helping you guys. Hopefully some of you guys that are out there and gals, come on and see our big event if you can't come out. You got a question, Greg?
Yeah. How does the CAT after the Rear 02 affect fuel trims?
Anyone want to answer that besides me?
You say.
I can only
You got the
guess.
420 class.
You're the 420 man.
Yeah.
Why don't you guess, Pierre? Then I'll give my opinion.
I would guess that it's, because it's after, it's still changing flow. And the flow has got to be changing the way that oxy-sensor reacts.
Yeah, there's an X amount of back pressure built in, but the chemistry of how it breaks down affects the algorithm that's going to go on with that oxygen sensor.
One of those tricky algorithms.
I spoke to, this is no lie, an OBD2 engineer, I can't mention the company, a couple of companies, but major OEs, and that's exactly what they told me, in simple terms. I'm sure there's a very big explanation, but that rear catalyst is affecting the way that rear oxygen sensor is actually gonna work. If you take
And
that
they're
out,
using that to affect fuel trim.
exactly.
Fuel trim.
And by the way, rear O2 can affect and control fuel trim.
Yeah.
They used
Yeah.
to tell us that
A
that
lot of
wasn't the
cars.
case. They used to tell us it was only cat efficiency.
Right. You,
Right.
It hasn't been true for a long time.
and again, like I said before,
It only
no one's
affects a
gonna put
certain
in,
amount, though. It's
Yeah,
like
very small.
Certain range, right?
Yeah, like more so in Toyotas, I
right,
think.
Toyota's a big, GM,
Like
some
a
GM.
like a
some
trim.
It's a final trim, yeah, let's call it final
Final
trim.
trim.
There you
Or if they see the front is out of whack.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
then they
rational,
start
use the back.
controlling it from the back.
We're
right?
having an argument. Someone said downstream O2s are only monitoring cat performance. That's
No,
it.
That is not true.
No.
It may be
No.
true for some manufacturers, but it is
Not true
definitely,
for all.
it's, no matter what they've published in the past,
Google
they
it.
are using rear O2s
For
for
trim,
fuel trimming purposes.
no doubt. That is out by many OEs, Toyota, General Motors, a lot of them do that. Always check the rear O2. But anyway, no one's gonna put a cat with precious metal, especially the way how expensive they are, if it does nothing. Nissan will only sell you, if you need the front cat, it all comes one piece, the pipe, the rear, and same with Subarus. They want
Yeah.
that whole setup if you get it from the dealer. Now, you buy them aftermarket, Joe Schmo will tell you, oh yeah, just put this little one in, it'll work.
You don't need that.
You'll have a problem. You will have a problem.
Ford especially, who's gonna put that many cats?
You know,
in
I call the OBD2 light the you
All
suck
of it.
light. You know why the you suck light? Because it's gonna tell you you suck when the light comes back on. When it was an emission tailpipe test and the light wasn't there, oh yeah, you can get away with it.
Right.
This thing is testing at 1.5 times the federal test procedure, and that's why you have what they call a CARB certified cat. CARB is California Air Resource Board, and they make all the rules on what goes in there.
And by the way, New York, Connecticut, is New Jersey a California emission state at this point?
I don't think so,
No,
but
yeah.
Massachusetts, Vermont,
Connecticut, New York, so technically whatever rules apply to California apply to here
most
as
of East
well.
Coast.
Yeah.
If you buy a cat, you buy stuff, you have to basically live by those rules.
But the aftermarket cats are ISO certified.
No, they're not. And by the way, here's a little tidbit. The catalytic converter, if it's a CARB 2 certified, has a stamp with a number on the bottom of the cat. There's numbering right on the cat. They'll give you the info. So, anything else do we have?
5,000.
Nothing else? Craig? Okay. Anything else you gentlemen have to say? Varney, you've been very quiet.
That's a first.
I've been getting in trouble tonight, so I
Yeah,
have to
he's
say
been
that.
You got yelled at earlier.
Several times.
Many, yeah.
Well, hey,
I'm sure outbid.
again, I want to thank you guys for attending. Don't forget, you can see all our roundtables. Just go to the TST seminars.org webpage, go on seminars. To the right of the page, it says TST on YouTube. Go on there and you can see all the different webcasts we've done. Many of them for free, some for pay. If you're interested in DVDs, we have one like if you missed the class from Wayne Colonna, or who did we have before Wayne? John Anello. Anything that we had, all the different years,
The list is
your
here.
TST
The
member,
list is there, yeah.
you can see the list and we have that information for you.
Again, the big event, make it. It's a good class.
If you sign
right?
up from having
24th.
seen us tonight, you get a price that has already gone up for everybody else. So you should just, if you're gonna do it, do it.
Just do it.
Like now.
Top teachers of the world are coming.
Do it now, call Craig,
All right, thank you again.
right now.
Stay well. Good night from New York.